Time to be here today.
Yes,
I really
absolutely.
appreciate it.
Great to see you.
It's you too. So Jaimie and I have had a history of being able to talk back and forth. She has a great following. She's been really involved in things in Providence in the past. You were at the Dorrance with Regina and Michael, my good friends over there.
Yeah.
And you studied at Johnson & Wales.
I did, yeah.
So we're both alum, and she's got a great background with that. But I want to have you tell us, before we get into the success and the things you're doing now and tasting this wonderful wine you brought, tell us kind of how you got into this, because, I mean, studying for this is not an easy thing.
Yeah. Well, when I was in school, I was actually studying advertising and marketing communications at Johnson & Wales. And I had some friends in the culinary program that were taking these wine classes. And I'm like, I want to get in on that. So I went into like academic services, and they were like, I mean, why do you want to do that? That's for culinary students. I'm like, I don't know, I want to learn more about wine. So I was able to get into some of the classes, and I thought, you know, I'll be like the best wine marketer, and I thought I'd learn about how to market wine, and then kind of fell head first into just this passion for learning about wine. And I mean,
so now, and then you've gone a step further now. Now you're studying more and more to get the different degrees of the sommelier, right?
Yes. Yep. So I minored in sommelier at Johnson & Wales, and then I took my intro course through the Court of Master Sommeliers back last May, actually about a year ago in Napa.
And she hangs with some very good company in Rhode Island and now outside of Rhode Island. It's very hard to not find a great picture of Jaimie enjoying wine somewhere in the world. I've seen you all over the place. Yeah. I think I saw one picture you were at the NFL draft, and you think you're at the NFL draft, you might be having a beer. You're having some amazing wine and some food. Yeah. And everywhere you go, you've just got this great knack to be able to do it. And I'm sure working with people at the Dorrance was encouraging as well for what, you know, Michael and Regina did over there. And, you know, I've seen you with other sommeliers throughout the state, Ian from MS Walker, yeah, other various people. So that this group seems to be growing, not just in Rhode Island, but in New England. I've seen more somms coming up in Boston and Maine and New Hampshire. And it used to be that people weren't doing it because it was so hard.
Yeah.
And it's still hard, though, right?
Oh, it's still hard.
But people, I think, are more encouraged to do it now. And this path to progression that you've had has taken you to EATALY in Boston.
Yes.
So tell us what's going on at EATALY, because that place, the one in Boston, I feel like I'm there every month. In New York, I was just there last month.
Oh, awesome.
And Lydia Bostanich has been on the show, and she loves talking about it. When she came on, we were talking about the opening in LA, because it had been open in just, I think, a week when she joined me. So kind of tell us what you're doing at EATALY and what's happening over there. Fill us in on, because it's Tara, right? Am I saying it right?
Yes.
Okay. So tell us what you're doing.
Yeah, so for those of you who haven't heard of EATALY before, it's basically an Italian marketplace, all things Italian. I work at the Boston location. It's originated in Italy, a lot of locations throughout Europe, and this is the third location in the United States. So my job is the Beverage Educator, so it's a really fun position. I basically train the staff we have 4 restaurants, to make sure that they know what they're talking about and are comfortable suggesting wine to their tables. And we also have a cooking school. I know Chef Donna has been on here before. She's wonderful. I am very lucky to work very closely with her in the cooking school. So we do different format classes. We have 1-hour classes. Those are called Sip and Savors. So that's beverage focused. So I have the awesome opportunity to teach those. We do things like, a few weeks ago we did Italian rosés. And so we tasted through a bunch of different Italian rosés, and everyone got the opportunity to kind of learn a little bit more about how wine is made. And we often do a collaboration with one of the other departments in the store. So within EATALY, there are 4 restaurants, but also several quick service restaurants. And there's a meat department, a seafood department. We have a whole produce section.
It's absolutely amazing. And you sell wine. You've got a wine shop.
Yes.
On the property. It's like
yes.
one of the first things you walk into when you're up there, and it's absolutely amazing. So one of the questions that I think, and I was telling you earlier that I wanted to make sure I asked you because I was getting messages about it, is can people purchase the wine, not just to take home, but enjoy while they're there? Because every time I've been there, I'm walking around with a glass, but I'm ordering it from one of the restaurants or one of the quick service things to walk around and enjoy things. But people can actually purchase and enjoy their wine there, right?
Absolutely. So you can purchase a bottle of wine at any of the restaurants, and we'll pour it into glasses for you, and you can walk throughout the store, do your grocery shopping, whatever you'd like with a glass of wine in your hand. You can't purchase a bottle of wine from the wine store and walk around. That's the only thing.
Right.
But yeah, you can walk around with a glass of wine in your hand.
But a lot of the wines that you're featuring in the restaurants are available in the stores. in the
Absolutely.
store there?
Most
Yeah.
of them are.
Excellent.
Most of them are.
And that's a big thing because it's, in Rhode Island, it's tough that you're tasting something in a restaurant that you like, you got to go hunt down a store to go find
Yeah.
it. But with you guys, it's the complete
right
opposite.
there.
Yeah, it's right there. You can literally walk out the door with it, which is amazing. So going to this whole thing and talking about celebrating National Wine Day, and when I first reached out to Jaimie, it was an obvious fit because of her passion for wine and the things that she studied. But in talking about this, you guys are kind of have this Italian celebration going on a regular basis. There's always something going on there that's educating the consumer. And poor Chef Donna, when she came on to join me, she's standing over here trying to teach me how to make pasta. It was the it was the funniest thing, and she was doing a great job. She's got a lot of patience. I got to tell you,
she does that well.
She does that very well. So it was a lot of fun to have her join us and tell us about the food side of educating the consumer. But from your perspective, it's about the pairing side of what you can do and put out there. And you mentioned that you're training the staffs that are waiting on us as we're dining there, right?
Yeah.
So for the events, and I know you've got a lot of great events coming up, tell us how some of these events happen and where that education component comes in. Because it's, I always throw out education, but it's more of a fun. It's a fun education.
Definitely.
So.
Yeah, so our logo at EATALY is Eat, Shop, Learn. So I get to have the awesome opportunity to teach kind of in a more formal setting, but part of it is helping our staff to educate all of their guests, those dining at their tables or coming to whatever quick service restaurant that they're at, and helping them to find something. For instance, for the most part, we don't pour a Pinot Grigio by the glass in any of the restaurants.
Okay.
Occasionally we will, but we like our servers to be able to have that conversation with the guest and say, okay, you're familiar with a Pinot Grigio from Italy, but there's so much more. There's thousands of indigenous grape varietals to Italy that could be produced elsewhere, but they're, for the most part, they grow really well in that soil from whatever place that they're from, and they're delicious. But if you've never had it before or no one's ever shared it with you before, then you wouldn't know to order it when you see the wine list. So we want to make sure that the staff can kind of walk them through it. And also we have a couple events coming up throughout the summer. We're doing a block party.
This looked amazing because it's once a month, right?
Once a month, every month throughout the summer. And we're basically turning Boylston Street in Boston to like an Italian plaza.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's amazing. So it's bringing EATALY outside in the middle of Boston.
Yeah.
Well, close to, but still in the middle of Boston.
Yes.
And I was looking at this because someone made a comment asking if we were going to talk about it, and I said, yes, of course, I'm going to ask her. But it's literally a once a month thing all summer long that they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's like tickets and tastings and all that stuff. So from your perspective in doing this is that, a lot of people are intimidated. And you just mentioned Pinot Grigio and all the grape varietals that are similar and that people should try. But going into EATALY, you guys make it so that they're not.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about the wine you brought today. And I know there's a couple
Sure.
other events that I wanted to make sure I brought up that we talked about too. But this is the part that obviously that I enjoy the most, but this is the part that becomes important, is that to talk about how things compare and work and go together so that you're not just picking up the same old Pinot Grigio or the same old Chardonnay or Merlot or Red Zinfandel, is that you're
Exactly.
finding things that have different varietals and things that are out there. And I think each of you guys are, thank you so much. So what are we drinking now?
All right, so this is Borgogno Era Ora Riesling. This is from Piemonte.
This is a Riesling?
This is a Riesling from, yes.
Okay, I would have
From
never
Italy.
guessed that till you just said that.
So what's really cool about this wine is this winery has been making wine for over 250 years. It was purchased by Oscar Farinetti and his family, who is the founder of EATALY, back in 2008. And then in 2012, his son, Andrea, took over the winemaking. So Piemonte, if you're familiar with Barolo, Barbaresco, it's kind of like big red wine territory.
Right.
There are a few grape varietals that are white, typically grown in that soil, but not Riesling. So this is super exciting.
I'm still in awe that this is a Riesling.
Yeah. So Andrea, the winemaker, he wanted to kind of bring the winemaking style into the next generation. And so it's called Era Ora, which means it was time.
I like that.
Yeah, it's like a little ode to.
Okay, so normally when I think Rieslings, I think overpowering with fruit, but still refreshing. This is actually drier than the average Riesling that I've
Yeah.
had.
So there's no residual sugar here. It is vinified dry. It's
Wow.
delicious.
I'm really, and this is going to go perfect with some of the cheeses. So talk to me about some of the pairings and things you do. Would you say that this would go with some of the cheeses that we have here today?
Absolutely. But I think also this wine has quite a bit of structure to it. And part of that is because where it comes from, Piemonte means foot of the mountain. So it's at the foot of the Alps. And what you get in terms of the climate there is kind of this like tug of war between the really cold mornings, foggy, warm mornings, and then you get the Mediterranean influence, the warmth kind of pulling back and forth at each other. And the grapes love their sun. This comes from really high elevation vineyards, so you also get that acidity retention. But it's very full body. The grapes are really able to ripen, and not much is done in the winery in terms of filtration, things like that, to kind of, it's really in its purest state.
So when guests are joining you, and EATALY is always mobbed. Every time I've gone there, there's people all over the place.
Yeah.
No, seriously, it's a wonderful feeling to be in there. You feel the energy of almost really truly being in Italy.
Definitely.
So these events, I know there's a wine dinner also coming up that I saw that's going on in Terra. You've got the summer events that are going on once a month. People can find all this information on EATALY's site, right? They go kind of like a microsite to be able to find what's going on in Boston. So when these are happening and they're there, are you one of the people that's out there and available to answer the questions and go through that with them and talk? Because what you're just talking about now, again, I'm in awe that this is a Riesling, number one, but number two, to be able to talk about what it pairs up and have people know that they can enjoy it beyond what they're tasting in Italy, to take it home.
Definitely. For the wine dinners, which we do about every 6 weeks, it's a truly collaborative process between the awesome chefs that we have and then also the beverage team. So it's really a thoughtful process of which wines we're going to pair with which dish, sourcing local ingredients almost always when possible, whatever's in season. And another event that we're doing next month is basically behind the scenes of Terra. Terra is our more fine dining concept upstairs on the 3rd floor of EATALY Boston. It's got like a wood-fired grill and smaller shared plates, delicious, delicious food. And we'll be doing like a behind-the-scenes sort of takeover up there, and it'll give all of our local purveyors the opportunity to come in and showcase their local ingredients, and the chefs can kind of explain what they do with them.
Great. And I think those things are not only truly enjoyable, but you're getting an education at the time that you're having a lot of fun. I noticed too in my last trip to New York, and I'm wondering if you do this in the Boston, Italy, flights. You can get flights of different things to sample and try, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're running one right now. It's called a Tour of Tuscany. So it's 3 different wines. It's a rosé, a Chardonnay blend, and then a Chianti Classico Reserva. So 3 different styles of wine coming from Tuscany. So that's pretty exciting.
And that's awesome. So if you're going up Friday, if you're in Boston for Friday, celebrate National Wine Day, you can go by EATALY, try a flight. Jaimie will find you some way or another. Just ask for it. That's what I do. And then Donna's up there as well, so you got to say hi to Donna. But is Donna involved in a lot of these different classes that are going on as well still?
Yeah, so Donna is the chef for the cooking school. So she's in there for all the cooking classes. So we did a really fun one last night. It was an all-vegetarian class. So that was really cool to be able to pair awesome wines with this vegetarian cuisine. So finding some more biodynamic wines, something in its most natural state, not too much altered with.
That's fantastic.
Really
I'm going to have to find an excuse to get Donna back up here. We've given her enough shout-outs now. So I know that you've got to get going back to another event with the amazing Jarvis Green, who was formerly with the New England Patriots, who was going to be joining me next month when we talk about some seafood. So I'll let you guys get going, but thank you for making the time today.
Thank you.
Cheers again.
Thanks
Have fun
for
on
having
Friday
me.
celebrating.
Yes.
Thank you guys for coming in.
All right.
I may have to drink some more of that when I get off set because I cannot believe that that is Riesling. That's absolutely amazing. All right, so my next guest that I have to bring in is a friend that I love talking to. We've gotten together recently a few times, and I'm going to bring in